consider yourself an overthinker, where sometimes your thoughts spin or spiral out of control? You find yourself ruminating on something that happened, maybe something small that only took a few minutes out of your day. Not only do these thoughts steal precious time from our day, they sometimes keep us awake at night. I know this is true for me, and this is a common theme that many of my clients seem to share. So what can you do? Hello, I'm Chris Clark, and this is my Living a Richer Life channel, where we challenge your current thinking and explore ways for you to think differently so you can live a richer, more fulfilling life. So if from time to time overthinking gets the best of you, you have a couple choices. One is you can just accept it as a normal part of life and stay stuck there spinning your wheels for a while and know that eventually you'll come out on the other side. I ask people, does it make you feel productive? Does it add value in your life? Most of the time, and probably the reason you're here with me today, is it does not add value to your life, and you'd like to find some strategies to help you think a little bit better, to think more clearly, and to get over this hump a little bit more quickly. So overthinking is a normal part of life that does happen from time to time. However, the choice is yours how quickly and how much you want to let that overthinking control you and your thoughts and your behavior. Now that we've determined that you want to do something about this overthinking, what can you do? The first step would be to notice that you're overthinking. Consider what's triggering these thoughts for you. Is it a new challenge that you're facing? A new job, a new role, a new task, something that's causing you to question your ability? So taking on a new role or a new job where you feel uncertain or unsure is bound to trigger your overthinking and put you on high alert. Next, evaluate what you're thinking about. If you're struggling with a new task and you're wondering whether you should ask for help, think about the thoughts that are going around in your mind. Often when we're overthinking, we get stuck in the woulda, coulda, shoulda trap. Did I say the right thing? Did I do the right thing? Should I ask for help? I shouldn't have asked for help. I should have tried this a little bit longer. All of those woulda, coulda, shoulda words are all clues that you're thinking in your B game, or you're using your less than best thinking to solve a problem. Then notice how you're feeling. Often people are feeling tension. They may be feeling frustration or anger at themselves. They may physically be feeling their jaw is tense or their shoulders are tense. They may be feeling resigned and withdrawn. So again, notice how you're thinking, how you're feeling, how you're reacting, because all of that data will help inform you when it happens again in the future. And we want to be able to reduce the amount of times it's happening and shorten the amount of time that overthinking impacts you and steals precious time from your day. Now, there is one big challenge with this thinking about overthinking, and I know that's a lot of thinking there, but it's often difficult to solve your own problem with the thinking that got you there. And that's why it might be helpful to reach out to a coach like me that can help you evaluate how you're thinking. Possibly a mental health professional could also be helpful. So if you're having trouble with this step, recognizing what kind of situations, scenarios, circumstances trigger this overthinking for you, it might be helpful to have a partner who can look at it with you. The next thing I would recommend is to pause and to take a big breath. So let's do it together. Expand your lungs, lift your shoulders, sit up straight, take a big breath. Because that one action can help calm down your nervous system, and it can help prevent an amygdala hijack, which is something that happens in our brains that causes our bodies to go into fight, flight, or freeze. So in a freeze kind of situation with overthinking, you become very unproductive because all that you can do is ruminate and think and not take any action. So take a big breath. Fill your lungs with air. Give yourself a moment so that you can think more clearly to solve your own problem. The next step I would recommend is that you ask yourself the central question of life, love, and leadership. And if you haven't listened to the video on the central question, I'd recommend you do it next after this video. So the central question of life, love, and leadership was developed by Peter Demarest and Harvey Schoaf, founders of Valuegenic LLC, and the question is, what choice can I make and action can I take in this moment to create the greatest net value? Now, that question, first of all, will help you pause and reflect on what are the best options I can take right now. What choice can I make and action can I take in this moment to create the greatest net value for everyone concerned, including me or including you? Practically speaking, we've now talked about two steps. One is to take a big breath, and the second is to ask yourself the central question. When you ask yourself the central question, you're giving yourself time to think and pause just for a few seconds to consider the facts, to consider the situation. Next, I'd ask you, how much is this going to matter in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year? So put it into perspective, what is happening in the moment. If it's a struggle that you're having in a new job, how much is this moment going to matter in a day, a week, a month, or a year? And most likely, it isn't going to make a big difference, and that it's just something that you're stuck on right now. If you're overthinking something and there is no immediate solution and you don't have time to work on it now or figure out a solution, tell yourself to put a pin in it. I've told myself, I don't have time to think about that right now. I'll think about it later, but right now I have things to do. If I tell myself I'm putting a pin in it and that I'm going to come back to it later, somehow that gives my mind a break to let go of the idea and move on to the next thing. It's kind of a psychological trick to help you break free to do something more productive. You're also telling your mind brain, I hear you, but I don't have time for this right now. So I'm going to put a pin in it, can help you shift gears. Another technique you can try is to ask yourself, what would my best friend tell me? When I think of my best friend, she would tell me, don't overthink it. You're overreacting. Only you see it that way. Nobody sees you the way you see yourself. You're harder on yourself than anyone else. So when I'm overthinking something, I often think about or talk to myself like I am my own best friend. I think some people would call that self-love or self-compassion. But how would you talk to yourself and be more realistic about the thing that's bothering you, that you're ruminating on, maybe the dumb thing you said or the imperfect thing that you did, and give yourself a little grace and talk to yourself like your own best friend. Another technique that can be helpful is to get busy. Go do something. You may want to go clean something in your house, or go take a walk around the block, or go spend some time in nature for a few minutes and just take a break. All of those things can clear your head and help you see things more clearly. You can also choose to do something for someone else. And often we find that a task that we can do for somebody else lifts us up as well. So while the task is distracting me from what I'm thinking about, I think about how can I add value to someone else, whether it's someone in your office, a quick phone call that you need to make, to tell somebody they're making a difference for you, smiling or engaging with a stranger when you're out at the store. Any of those kinds of things can help take your mind off of the moment and remind you that life isn't always the way it seems in the moment. Another thing you can do is to make a list of successes you've had in your life. Think about things that maybe you struggled at in the past that you learned to overcome. Maybe a new task or a new job that you learned how to do. It could be a hobby that you did and it wasn't easy in the beginning, but now you really enjoy it and you learned how to do something well. And then lastly, acknowledge that sometimes things are scary and sometimes we make mistakes, and that fear and that overthinking are a normal and natural part of life. And that life doesn't always go smoothly, no matter how much we think it should. Some degree of discomfort is normal and even healthy when you're stretching and growing, but your overthinking or ruminating starts to cause too much stress or mental strain. Maybe it's time to seek some outside help. Whether it's a coach like me who can give you insights and another perspective on yourself, or a mental health professional, don't go it alone too long. If your overthinking is caused by normal everyday things like a new job or a new role, launching a business, or even managing your own business, maybe managing people or dealing with difficult situations, I'd love to chat. See the link below and schedule a free introduction call, and let's get started on helping you live a richer life. Thanks for tuning in today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.